Oh, hi there. Welcome to Shogi in the West, an English language podcast for active shogi players and shogi learners around the world. In this podcast, we focus on the topics and the people that matter to those of us outside Japan trying to find our way in this game. And this week's special guest is Vince. Vince is a shogi promoter, a shogi content creator, the JSA representative for the Phoenix Shogi Club, and the creator of the Shogi USA website, among other things. Big welcome to the channel, and have you played any shogi today?
Hi there. And unfortunately, I have not yet played any shogi. I just got up, you know, got ready and had coffee. But I certainly will. We
Sounds good.
actually have a club meetup tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to playing some shogi tomorrow.
Awesome. So, what's your shogi playing and sort of training schedule like? Do you usually play every day? Do you usually, is it in the, and if you do, is it any particular time?
Yeah, usually sometimes when I wake up as like part of my like getting up out of bed, I'll do some shogi problems. Um just through like Shogi Quest or something easy like that. But then oftentimes I will play like in the evenings. So like once everybody goes to sleep, um, in my house, I'll pull out my phone and play some Shogi Wars. I've been doing like just my 3 free games on Shogi Wars
Hmm.
every night. Although recently I've been doing sprint mode a lot. I really like sprint mode. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, interesting,
And
interesting. So, did you like it from the beginning? There's. It seems like most people love it. There is a contingent that don't seem to dig it as much.
oh,
But
like sprint mode.
yeah,
I think I at first I was like, okay, this is a cool idea, but like this also totally sucks. Like you could just get completely like bamboozled and lose in like 2 moves
yeah,
if you get a bad position. But I've actually it's grown on me a lot. I really like it. Because I'm kind of the type of player who wants to like find new openings and sort of explore different types of games. So I feel like any end game is going to be relevant eventually because like
yeah.
maybe someday I'll try Anaguma or something. I'll try a new opening strategy and that'll lead into this kind of crazy weird end game. So
Interesting. The 3 minutes doesn't bother you, or
if it was a full game, 3 minutes would bother me because I hate
yeah,
having just no thinking time at all. Um, but I feel like usually in the end game, you're down to like close to 3 minutes left, anyways.
hmm,
I would prefer Byoyomi if that were an
yeah,
option, but you know.
yeah. Well, so you mentioned that you like to try different openings and learn different openings. Like, have you
Mhm.
settled on one, or are you still just are like Riki-sen type player, or do you what are what are your thoughts on the opening? Are you playing a lot of different things, and if does that depend on the circumstance? Like in a tournament, you might play a particular repertoire, or just online, you're playing lots of things.
Yeah, so like competitively and anytime I want to like try and rank up, I pretty much always go static rook. I'm like
Mm.
very Ibishato, like
Mm.
static rook all the way.
Yep.
And usually like a rapid attack variant. I hate doing I think it's what GQ send the War of Attrition.
Okay.
My least favorite type of game. I prefer rapid attack, like early action, and then whoever can break the castle first wins.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm really particular too to like to Migishiken, the right fourth file rook as
Mm.
well. Um, because it has that vibe of like quick attack,
Yeah.
rapid engage. Um, but I always have trouble in casual settings. I'm like, what opening should I play today? And so I'll take like a D8 with me and then roll the d8, and whatever number it is, that's the
Nice.
file I start from. And
Nice.
if it's a one, I'll either do re-roll or surprise opening or Udashino or something like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a Magnus Carlsen approach too. Sometimes when he's playing online or in a smaller event, he'll just roll the dice or die.
Roll dice, yeah. I did that for Tourney to Masters this year. I
Mm.
challenged myself because it was after the US Shogi tournament, but they kind of intersect a little bit, intersected. And then during that time, I was like, okay, let me just play Ibisha, Static Rook until the tournament is over because that's what I'm going to take to the tournament. But then after the tournament was over, I felt like I was like autopiloting my opening too much. I
Ah,
really didn't like that. It like left like a really bad feeling, especially after my game with Nozuki Sensei, because he like pointed out to me that I was, you know, the opening in shogi is like what both players play, right?
yeah.
Because if you're just hyper focused on like your own development, you miss what the other player is doing, and then you can kind of develop suboptimally, right? If you're not thinking about like where's the attack coming from. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna roll a die. It'll be a hyper competitive game. It'll be like exactly the type of situation I should be like pausing and thinking about each of my moves. And it worked out pretty well. Uh, I, I
That's really cool. Like that's incredible advice. I think for me, autopiloting in the opening, especially since I play the same opening essentially every game, and I've done it for now, the past 2 or 3 thousand of my games.
yeah,
It's a real problem, and I notice it when it's happening, or maybe a little bit after it's started to happen, and I go
right.
on sort of a bad run. But I think sometimes my fear of playing suboptimal, like playing poorly if I try something else, sort of keeps me still trying to play the same opening. So how do you, especially like in an event like TTM, in the West we don't have that many important events, but I'd call that an important event. It is for rating on 81 Dojo, and so how do you have that sort of rank anxiety or any sort of do you worry about that? Is that even a consideration for you of like,
Oh
oh,
no,
if I play this other thing, maybe I'm going to lose this important game and I'm going to rank down?
yeah, no, 100%. Like every tournament I enter, my goal is to win. Like even if I think that I'm maybe can't win because the competition is fierce, I'm like, no, I want to try and get first place and I want to
Absolutely.
win as many games as possible. Because like I mean, otherwise, why play competitively at all, right? That's the point, is you want to win. Um, and so I felt like because of that, it was the best time to do this sort of thing because I knew I would roll at the beginning of the week, right? So like before I had an opponent, before I had scheduled a game, I would decide on what opening I would play the next game,
Hmm.
and that would give me the opportunity. I have like some Seki books, and I have some resources I can tap online. Um, that I was like, okay, let me read all the nuances of this opening, and then once I had my opponent, I would prep specifically against the opening I think they're gonna play. Um, I'd like look at their games and see. Probably the most I felt like almost evil for doing this
Hmm.
was when I played against Killer Ducky, and he plays basically the same opening every game.
Yeah.
And so
What is it, Gangi?
no, he plays like it's called Dannaka, I think.
Ah,
It's a
yeah.
kind of like surprise, like weird amateur opening.
Yep.
That yeah, yeah. I don't look it up
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
not familiar
I
with it.
play it as
It's
well. Yeah.
wild. Yeah, it's a really interesting opening. But I specifically looked up because I had rolled a five, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna play Central Rook,
Hmm.
and so I learned a little bit, and I specifically looked up a game that he had lost to a Central Rook player, and then
Mm.
I just memorized
Yeah.
those moves because I knew he would probably play in much the same way.
Mm.
So like the first, I don't know, 15, 17 moves were like, okay, this is exactly the game that he played against this player where he lost. And I went
That's
for the same kind of attack and won the game.
that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know of too many people at least admitting to preparing for their opponents. I definitely do because a lot of times over the board I play the same general people and who I've played maybe 20 to hundreds of times literally. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to prepare for them. But yeah, it seems like with the opening being poo-pooed a lot in shogi circles, the
In the
idea of
West.
preparation sometimes I think it's lost. But it's good to hear that someone else is doing this because I think it prepares you for your middle game positions.
Yeah, I mean, I really like opening prep. Maybe it's like a leftover. I actually hated opening prep in chess because I
Mm,
felt like every opening led to like a draw
yeah,
position.
yeah,
But I don't know, opening prep in shogi is really interesting. I think especially because there's so many different openings and it's like hard to you know y- for sure you can't prepare against everything, so you kind of just get like a general vibe of like here's where the attack should go, here's kind of what you want to think of through the end game, here's what your opponent might do. um yeah, I definitely recommend doing openings. I think part of the vibe of like, oh, you don't need openings or like, oh, forget about it, is that um when you play Japanese players, their opening prep is going to be superior to yours, like especially stronger ones, because they have like hundreds of books and resources and like videos on every other opening that come out once a month. And so I think the idea, part of the idea maybe behind that, and maybe why Kato Sensei was like so adamant on endgame, is because like if you lack experience in the opening, you can't hope to beat someone's opening prep. So you have to be able to like smash through and end a game.
yeah,
Um, and also like endgame helps you calculate, right?
yeah.
Endgame is all calculation. So if you learn how to calculate, you can calculate from 15 moves out or 17 moves out or something like that. And that can work in the opening as well, right? As long as you're always reading, you don't necessarily need to prep.
Yeah. Well said. It's almost like you've thought about these things before. It's almost like you've thought about teaching shogi. Since you mentioned chess, um, let's step back. How did you make that transition, or what made you even play shogi at all? Like, where did you hear of it? How did you start? What's the motivation behind it?
Yeah, so actually, I had forgotten about this until you just asked me this, but there have been kind of three moments where I was exposed to shogi, and it was only the third where it really took.
Mm.
And so I played chess for a lot of years, like since I was a kid. I was in like a chess club. I used to do like chess tournaments. I I, I think I won like one maybe, or like did pretty well with chess, but
So as a kid, like in like the sub 10, early, like really young.
I think I competed in like a K through 8 tournament. I want
Okay.
to say it was like first grade or
Okay.
something like
Wow.
that.
Wow.
There was like a guy, his name was Nikolai. He would go around to the different schools in Arizona and like put out three chessboards and just like play the
Okay.
kids and just wreck them.
Hmm.
And it was like, all right, if you liked getting totally ruined in chess, come join this club so you won't get embarrassed again. It's
Awesome.
that kind of teaching. But I played for a while and then kind of like lost interest after childhood. I got more interested in other things. And then kind of in high school I got a little bit into it again. Um because the problem was like I never really had someone to play with. So it's like
Ah,
anytime I had someone who could play with me, who was like somewhat competitive, then I would like get interested again.
yeah.
And actually, in my university, I ran like a chess club just because there wasn't one, and I was like, oh, extracurriculars, like I don't know,
Hmm.
and was hoping to find more chess players. And somebody mentioned, I think, the game of shogi, and we tried to play like shogi on like a chess board or something or I don't remember exactly how we did it, but it was very confusing. I didn't get it and I forgot about it. And then later in my life, I went to Japan for a couple years to like teach English through the JET program. It's like an assistant language
Ah,
teacher. And the social studies teacher there actually taught me how to play Go. He was really into board games, and so I taught him chess, and then he showed me shogi. But like again, it was like the kanji pieces. I could read kanji to an extent, but it's like okay, well this says gold. What what does gold do?
yeah,
That doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Just like I feel like shogi is weirdly very counterintuitive for chess players because the pieces don't come backwards. A lot of them are like close range. The development is completely different. You
yeah.
don't want to go for the center. You kind of want to like develop your rook. And so I sort of like learned a little bit and then gave up on it again.
Mm.
And then just a few years ago, I went to an event in Arizona called Matsuri that we run every year. It's like a Japanese cultural festival. And someone was running a shogi booth there. And he was brand new to the game. So, like me, right? Had no
Wow.
real experience. And he had 3D printed pieces with movement guides on them.
Ah.
So pretty similar to the Czech pieces, but it was just the movement and then the English name of the piece.
Is this a Japanese person?
No,
Oh,
is another like local to Arizona, like me,
okay.
yeah. Um, and so he was running this booth there playing shogi. He was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to set up a chess or like a shogi club," and then he was like selling his little 3D printed piece
Hmm.
sets, and I was like, here's $5. Save your piece set, to someone else.
Yeah.
I would love to join if you do a club, like, here's my contact info, etc. So, yeah, so he did get in contact with me. We met like a couple times with a few other people as well, but it was pretty slow going at first, and it just kind of so happened like the stars very much aligned for me with shogi because I could speak Japanese.
Yeah.
He'd been working on a website, and I could code at least enough to do a website. Um, he needed to contact and like teach people, and I just gotten back from like a teaching job. It's just all of these skills that I had picked up all
Yeah.
sort of coalesced into shogi in this very like
It's meant to
beautiful,
happen.
yeah, like the universe had called me
Yeah.
to shogi. And then later he kind of got busy with other life stuff and had to step away from the club, and he was like, "Do you want to run it?" And I said, "Yeah, totally." So I took over, and here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So when he decided to stop and you took over, were there other people still there, or did you sort of have to go from scratch and find new people?
It wasn't totally from scratch. So before he kind of took a break, we had like we'd initially been the hardest part was like figuring out a place to meet, right? Because
Yeah.
Phoenix has like suburban sprawl, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
lives like 30 minutes away from everywhere. So
Yeah.
we like okay, it's something downtown maybe. Um, we're meeting in like game shops or like cafes. A couple of times it was just he and I would meet, play shogi,
Mm-hmm.
and then we actually got contacted through our website. Someone found our website, and he was like, "Hey, I work at the Japanese Friendship Garden, and we're actually looking for like a Japanese board game to promote as like part of just like expanding our like cultural kind of outreach. Do you guys want to come do shogi at the Friendship Garden?" And we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so we contracted with the Friendship Garden so that once a month we could bring in some shogi boards, set up just in their like kind of food courtyard area,
Yeah.
like set up some boards and then teach people shogi if they happen to come into the garden that day. And from that, we got like two other people who found us through the website and came to the Friendship Garden. And one gentleman actually he's older. He learned the game in college, but then had no one really to play with. And he
Mm-hmm.
said just every couple years I would search like Arizona shogi. Finally, you guys came up, and so we played a game, and he's about my level. He's
Mm.
quite good. So
That's amazing. I mean, that's
I,
more that feels even more like everything is meant to be.
I know it's actually crazy how easy it has been,
Yeah.
and I know it's not usually this
It's not
easy.
usually, yeah.
But like, yeah,
But I think
the
it's also educational in that people that don't have someone to play with, there are stories like this. So sometimes just taking that first step
yeah,
might be enough.
no, 100%. Like, I think just if something is available consistently, like we were meeting monthly at the same location,
Yes.
people know when and where and how often someone will come. Like,
Yeah.
there certainly someone is looking. Like, who would have even known that this guy was out there searching like Arizona Shogi?
Totally.
He's just checking for a bite. It's I think there's a lot more people interested in shogi or potentially interested, and they just don't know where to go or who to talk to, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And once people start showing up, and I think this differs from online, once they've shown up, it's almost like a bit of a binding factor where now they have this thing in their life. They have other people not that depend on them, but you enjoy you enjoy being with these people and playing this game. And so they get shogi in their life. It stays in their life. And as it almost only grows from there. Obviously some people have to go away.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of that like personal relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just like you're meeting to play shogi, you're also like kind of meeting up with friends.
Yeah.
Or like potentially if this is something you're interested in doing with your family, you could teach like your kids. It's like a fun game to play. Especially goro-goro shogi is very popular with us, and
Mm,
especially at promotional events.
yeah.
I get people asking me all the time because they're out of print now, like if they can buy my goro-goro boards,
Yeah.
and like I only have so many, like, and some events I go to, I can't sell them, but because it's so fun for the kids to learn. It's a little bit faster to pick up on than
Yeah.
chess with the animal designs too. It's like it's cute, it's eye catchy, like it's really good. I think it is a great like bonding game, right?
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I noticed, or not just I, it's everyone in the club sort of noticed. There was a Japanese festival called the Cherry Blossom Festival here
Mm.
in Cupertino, Northern California, and someone just on a lark almost had tried to print up on an acrylic board on acrylic and made these like real hefty, almost like big mahjong tiles or something, really satisfying chunky acrylic with the design on there. And so there were all these shogi boards, including the shogi.cz pieces, the check pieces with the movement. There were tsume boards set up with some regular pieces, but the kids all went to this corner that had goro-goro,
Yeah.
and like almost to a fault. Like some of them just stayed playing for well over an hour. Sort of monopolizing in the best possible way this board. So that's in my limited experience, it seems great. And when I think of it, I think of you because I know how much you care about this
Yes.
game. Um,
I think
so
I
why
actually
is that?
provided I think I provided the printouts for
Yeah,
that
yeah, no
board.
doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, why is it that I care so much about shogi or
No,
goro-goro
no,
shogi?
about Goro Goro in particular.
It's, I believe this very much so that goro-goro is the gateway into shogi for the West.
Mm,
I think the easiest way to get people interested in shogi is through goro-goro.
yeah.
I have a few different reasons for this. The I can actually let me go grab
Okay.
for the viewers at home. I have some off screen here.
Awesome. We get props. This is the
Yes.
first time we have props.
First on the largest shogi podcast in the West.
Yeah. Sure, it's
The
the
most
only one,
viewed.
but
But yeah, so yes, here's what we're talking about, right? The lion, we have the chick. Look at how cute these are.
yeah,
They're, if you put up some boards at an event with these very cute pieces, all the children will love them. And ultimately, children grow into adults
yeah,
and like to relive things from their childhood. And one of those things could be shogi, right?
yeah.
they
Yeah,
could
totally.
remember that experience. Uh, the other thing is because it's family friendly, it's a great way for like parents and kids to have something in common to do, right? That can be hard to learn. There's no kanji that you have to learn. Um, they're all, pictures of animals, which people already recognize. So there's no like additional step of, oh, I need to remember that gold moves in this like kind of mushroom, whatever shape.
Hmm.
They all have dots on them that show you their movement. So like if you forget, you can just look at it and see, like here's how it moves, here's how it promotes. Um, it's just so like it's such a simple game, and if you learn Go to Shogi, you can immediately pick up Hon Shogi, like
Yeah.
the actual game, because it's all the same rules, right? Uchifu, pawn drops, blah blah blah, everything. It's just that it has like 4 or 5 extra pieces, and
Yeah.
the board is bigger, and the promotion zone is bigger, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 minutes. I can explain how to play Go to Shogi. We can play a game. You've spent like less than 5 minutes talking to me, and already now you can play Shogi later. You can get home, you can Google this game,
Yeah.
or if you can find a set somewhere, uh, now you can play with your kids. I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I'm
working on it
glad you
now.
mentioned the parents because that's also something I don't think I mentioned. In that festival, that was exactly what. So it was kids playing on the board, parents in strollers. Like the kid stroller, baby stroller. Sort of either behind them, watching and talking the entire like chatting with the other time, or there were a few times when it was the kid and his mom just playing. So it was you didn't see that at any of the other boards. The other boards, even the ones with the piece diagrams on them, the Czech international pieces, it was more like this is serious stuff, and the parent kind of watched from the side while the masters behind the board were the ones explaining things. So it was
Yeah.
more hands off for the hon shogi and totally hands on for the parents on the goro-goro,
Yeah.
and it just naturally happened that way. Like there was no intent behind that. It just naturally happened that way.
Yeah, it's just I mean, it's hard to take a game super seriously when the pieces look like this, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hon Shogi also has this kind of like elegant appearance, and it feels very like a little more serious, I think, by nature.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've gotten so many like questions and compliments from parents. They want to play the game, they want to learn more about it. I think in the same way that parents like to teach their kids chess, because it's like a game where you have to think about a lot of different stuff. You have to strategize. Critical thinking skills are very important, right, for
Absolutely.
developing mind.
But
Um,
now you actually, honest to goodness, enjoy playing it. At
I
least
I love
that's my
playing it.
perception.
Yes,
I
it's
saw
very
you at the 2025 US Shogi Championship. You played, well, we played, but you played a pro, if I'm not mistaken.
yes. I played Ishikawa Sensei, and
It's-
before that, last year at the U.S. Uh, the Los Angeles, the West Coast tournament,
mm,
I played with Ito Sensei, ladies pro, and Murota Sensei, ladies pro.
ah,
She actually tweeted out the board and the pieces because she
oh,
thought it was such a novel
oh,
experience.
wow! I'm gonna have to find
Yeah,
that tweet, and I'll add that in the show notes, the
I'll
in
send
the
it to
link
you. Yeah,
section. Oh,
it's incredible. I love playing Go to Shogi. It's
mhm,
so fun. It's like well, and probably in the same way I like Sprint, right? It's very like kind of you immediately get starting into like end game battle formation like very
yeah,
quickly. It's all about like vanguards and using your generals, which
yeah,
is another reason I like it as a teaching tool, because if you come from chess, you haven't seen anything like the gold and silver generals, and
hmm
so it can be hard to understand how to use them. Goro-goro is only the generals and pawns. So it's very fun. And I love playing it with pros because they play in like crazy ways.
Uh, how did
They're
those
very
games
advanced.
go?
Um, against Ito Sensei, I think I won the first one because
Mm.
she had never really played this game before. But
Really?
then
Oh, so they're not familiar with this game.
I think I think they've seen it before, maybe, or
Oh,
like they're familiar with Dobutsu more
yeah,
so.
yeah,
But they don't really play Go-to-Go. They're pros, right? Their
yeah.
whole focus is on Honshogi. But so I Ito Sensei is maybe the funniest because I think I beat her the first game, but then played her like two or three more times and could not win again.
Oh,
she
wow.
after one game, she was like, "Okay, I've got this now."
Okay.
She just every game won. But then I think Murata Sensei, I was like undefeated against her because she just I don't know. I guess it didn't click with her or
Mm.
something, or she was just maybe going
Yeah,
easy on me. It's
yeah,
it's never easy to tell, right? But her she did something very interesting, which was to kind of use the lion, like the king, as basically another general, like in attack mode.
yeah,
Which I was like, oh, you know, that's true if you think about it. The lion has the most movement of any of the other pieces, but the it has a major weak point in that you have to move it away if it gets checked, so
yeah.
it can't be sacrificed.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, so it's an interesting. Rather than playing handicap games, it's sort of I don't know if I'd say it's more interesting, but for me, it seems almost more interesting as maybe the stronger player to play because you still get the it's still it trains muscles that you might not have been using normally, which is that moving, pushing the generals up the board, the interaction of generals and the pawns and the king. Yeah, and so I'm actually surprised that the pros might not be using this in their other sort of training events because it does seem really nice.
yeah, and like I said, Goro-Goro's. I checked Nekomata's website; it's out of print now. They don't make it anymore.
Hmm.
So it seems like Dobutsu Shogi got fairly popular and sold a lot of versions, and I think they still make and sell copies of it to like get kids interested. But this, yeah, Goro Goro is sort of a in between one. I do for sure like really young kids, like I don't know, 4 years old, still can't really do
Yeah.
Goro Goro Shogi. It's like doesn't make they just want to stack the
Yep.
pieces.
Yep.
But I could see them maybe understanding Dobutsu, but then they don't
Oops.
have this middle step. I'm not sure why they wouldn't do this at the professional level or why the JSA doesn't promote this way, but it's also possible that Japanese kids are already just interested in Honshogi, right? Like didn't
Mm-hmm.
Fuji start at like 6 or 7 years old or something like that? So
Yeah. Well, have you ever discussed the game with Madoka Kitao? She created it, right? Or did she create
yes.
Dobutsu?
Well, she created Dobutsu. Goro was, I guess, invented or like made by the JSA. Like there's
Okay.
a pamphlet from like the 80s maybe explaining how to play
What
Goro.
is it? What does it mean?
It's I think it's the because of the board. The board is 5 by 6, and in Japanese that would be go roku.
Goro.
So
Ah.
goro, and goro is like an onomatopoeia for rolling.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
which
wow.
I don't know if that was also intentional because it's easy to snowball in a way in
Mm.
goro, but
Wow.
yes, now you know.
Yeah.
Fun trivia fact.
So have you discussed it with her?
Um, I haven't uh talked much with Kitao Sensei, but um, I did email her actually asking, well, like through the Nekomato kind of like the Japanese help desk. I was like, just in Japanese, uh, I asked her, like we need a sponsor for Phoenix Shogi as like a JSA branch.
Yes.
Kind of entitled to like an advisor, a pro
Yes.
advisor. I don't really know what the pro advisor does,
Yeah.
but I asked her like, would you be interested? Everything I look up, like Kitao Sensei initially invited Kato Sensei to Japan,
Mm-hmm.
She published all the, At a Glance series books that are now available in English, worked with Hidechi a lot, and she invented, Dobutsu Shogi with another ladies pro who designed the pieces. And all of these things have been like essential for Phoenix Shogi
Yeah.
as a whole, and for me
Western
as well.
shogi almost too.
Yeah, I'm like, you're, as far as I know, the most prominent like uh Western shogi promoter I've ever heard
Mm-hmm.
of, and a retired pro. So I was like, would you be interested in being our advisor? And she said potentially, but she would want to like kind of meet and talk first. So, and she hasn't come to any U.S. tournaments that I've participated in, so I
Yeah.
haven't had the opportunity to speak with her much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, continuing down sort of that promotion path,
Hmm.
um, tell me about Shogi USA, shogiusa.com. I'll link that.
Hmm.
How did it come about? What are your goals with it? How do you think it's doing?
Yeah. So, when I first started playing shogi, if you Googled Shogi USA or US Shogi Federation, the number one result was a Reddit post
I
asking,
I know
you've
what this is going to
probably seen
be.
it. It was asking, is there a US Shogi
Yeah.
Federation? And the comments are mixed of like no or like I don't think so. Or the only time I ever heard about it was this one blog post where this guy was ranting about some controversy.
Yep.
It's quite a fun drama fest. I think though the website
I read
is
it
now
all.
compromised, so I'd be wary of going to the website unless you have good, antivirus software. I also read the whole thing. It's hilarious. Uh, or you could find like shogi.net, which was like the most 90s looking website
Hmm.
you've ever seen and has archives of like going back to like 1990, I think, of like all the shogi related conversations being had between like European and American players. Um, but as far as I could tell, there was no U.S. Shogi Federation.
Yeah.
We talked to TZ early on, who said there is and isn't. I contacted Alan Baker. I actually just
Yeah.
found like some email addresses of kind of prominent club leads and things on Facebook or whatever else, and I just mass emailed them like, "Hey, everybody, I'm interested in the U.S. Shogi Federation. Do you know what it is?" And again, the response was like, "Oh, it exists, but not really," or like, "Oh, it's a federation in the sense that it's just all the club leaders chat from time to time." And then when I went to the U.S. Shogi tournament in 2024, I was told there is a U.S. Shogi Federation, and Mark Ono is the like president or chairman or whatever.
Mark Ono of the Los Angeles Shogi Club. Yeah.
Yes, of the Los Angeles Shogi Club. Amazing guy. He's done so much for U.S. Shogi. To praise Ono-san.
Really nice guy too. Yeah.
He really is. I mean, it sounds like I'm joking, but he's really like done a ton.
Hmm.
He runs all the tournaments. Has been running them for well over 2 decades.
Wow.
But yes, so it was all very confusing. And so my goal was like, okay, well, I can code websites. Why don't I just make a website? Because no one else is going to do it. No one
Hmm.
has done it. It'll be roughly explaining the situation of like, hey, there is a Shogi Federation and here's all the clubs in America, because that was another thing. So I was like, what if I'm an American Shogi player and there is a club in my state and I just don't know about it, right? So it collects all the club information, it has all their websites, so you can kind of contact anybody running a club. It's a way for US Shogi players to connect to one another in like a centralized hub. Um, and so the main goal was just like, here's something that someone like me could see in their Google search results
Hmm.
when they look
Hmm.
up US Shogi Federation that isn't dead, that is like a living
Yeah.
event. It tells me when the next tournament is, tells me if there are any clubs in my area. something like that. A resource, like a basic resource for new players
Yeah.
is the goal.
Yeah, I mean, we have very few of what I would call basic resources like that, and Shogi USA is certainly one that when someone will ask the in person or something, someone will ask, are there tournaments? Are there any other clubs? Because we always do get someone asking about the game whenever we're just playing out there. You get
Yeah.
interest, and it is on the short list of sites that I'll mention to people. So thank you for it, because it's a great resource. And like you said, no one had done it. Someone has to do it, and so that was you.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy. It's not easy to take that first step. So anyway, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and
Yeah.
I hope it grows. Like, do you have a sense of, like, do you look at analytics or visitors, or how like, are people engaging with it?
I don't really bother with it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
I will often ask people if I see new faces at the tournament. Sometimes I'll ask them like, "Oh, how did you hear about the tournament?" or
Yeah.
something like that. Or like when people join our like Phoenix Shogi Discord, I'll ask them, "How did you find us?" Just out of curiosity to see like, "Oh, should we keep running this particular event that we have to like set aside today for
Hmm.
and get a bunch of people involved in, or is our website doing enough work?
Yeah.
Should I post more flyers in certain
Hmm.
places, things like that?" But I don't know. I definitely want it to grow, and I want to see more people join. And I feel like I have kind of done as much as I can, and
Hmm.
continue to do as much as I can to like get the word out. But beyond that, it's I'm not gonna go hyper data
Sure.
driven.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
uh,
speaking of tournaments, you mentioned tournaments because the tournament is listed there. I think you are one of the more active tournament players that I know anyway. You've been to at least three. You've been to the past two U.S. Shogi Championships, and then the
mhm.
Los Angeles Fall event.
Yes.
Any others? Or
I'm planning to go to the one coming up in October.
yes.
That'll be shout out
Yep.
October 15th, I think.
Check it
It's
out on
posted on
shogiusa.com.
shogiusa.com/tournaments.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be my fourth one. Um, I love the shogi tournaments. They're like a whole event. I think
Yeah.
they're so different from the chess tournaments I went to as well. They are on the pricier side. Full disclosure, they're a little more expensive, but I think a big part of that is I think every tournament I've been to has had at least two pro guests, which is unbelievable in a
Hmm.
way. If you ask, anybody who goes to like FISA European shogi tournaments, I don't think they really get a lot of visiting pros very often. And we are lucky enough to have like two to three at every tournament.
Hmm.
Um, and playing like even one teaching game with one pro is like so will like completely evolve your shogi game
Yeah.
because they see stuff that you never would. So that's kind of my favorite thing about the tournament is just like getting to meet and interact with pro shogi players. And sometimes they'll join the dinners and you can kind of chat with them a little bit
Yeah.
and ask interesting questions.
Hmm.
um, and then obviously the competition is also very exciting for me. It's our club has kind of me and the one other gentleman I mentioned who are close to the same level, but the other handful of people are mostly beginners.
Hmm.
So there isn't a lot of a competition out here in Arizona. So it's great to have like a really strong players like all in one place and just play shogi all day for a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite an experience. As you mentioned, it is pricey, but once I went to 2024, that was my first,
Mhm.
and you realize why, where that price is going. You see right away where that cost is going,
Yeah.
and
Oh, for sure.
it sounds corny, but it's a celebration of shogi. Like, it's more of it's not just a tournament. It's just an entire sort of celebration of the
Yeah.
game.
No,
And
it's a whole event. It's like a whole
it
experience,
really
you know?
is.
It's so different from any other like board game
Mhm.
tournament you have ever been to, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it. Um, you talk about your ability to interact with the pros, and to a large extent, I think that's because you speak Japanese.
Hmm.
So you're the translator in a lot of ways for the rest of us. In 2025 at dinner, I was sitting next to Ishikawa Sensei, and you were maybe two over from him,
Hmm.
or yeah, and you're able to translate and ask questions. Um, like how do you have any plans like to take that beyond, because you're in somewhat of a unique position for the rest of us where you
Yeah.
have that tie. You can read, you can speak, you can translate,
Hmm.
which is not straightforward, especially now in the days of it. Software doesn't help very much at all with shogi.
Yeah.
So like, are you thinking of ways to use that more? Do you just like yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I studied Japanese for a good few years, and I lived there obviously, so
Yeah.
that like, much expanded my level, and kind of hang out with like local Japanese communities and stuff. So I get to use the language on a fairly regular basis, which is nice. Um, and yeah, I I do feel very much unique in my sort of position as like an almost like a bridge between the like American and
Yeah.
Japanese shogi sides. There are a few others as well who are, I think, all Japanese ancestry, but like have lived in America long enough. They're
Yes.
like basically American,
Oops.
who probably speak both languages better than me.
Mm.
but um, but I seem to be the only like we could say Western um, person who's able to kind of do both languages and give like a decent enough interpretation. Um, I have uh, in the past like offered to translate certain things for some people. I'm kind of working on like a couple different book translations as like favors to people, but translating a whole book is like a lot of work
Yeah.
and takes a long time. Um, and then I actually, when Yamaguchi Sensei was a guest at the 2023 tournament, kind of approached her and was like, "Could I add subtitles, English subtitles, to your videos?" Because she has like a whole shogi koza, like shogi lessons learning playlist. And she did end up emailing me, and I was able to get subtitles on her first video, and then made them for kind of her second and third. But I think she's just very busy.
Yeah.
She runs like Shogi Focus,
Yeah.
is obviously still a very active pro and playing competitively. And so
Yeah, I'll
I
try to
kind of
link
just
that video. It's fantastic.
yeah,
Just
it's a
out of
great
sidebar. Go.
yeah, it's a great video. Like the first one that I did end up getting subtitles for was how to judge a shogi position basically.
Mm.
And it's I feel like fundamental. Like it's the perfect way to kick off I think the series. Um I would like to do more of them, but also subtitling videos is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Um and I'm just one guy. So
Yeah.
but I think in the future, if I can talk more with the JSA or more with the pros, there's some kind of like contract work I could do because a lot of it has just been volunteer, and it's hard to motivate yourself to do work for free.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially with potentially very few viewers.
audience, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like if I knew for sure, like, oh, everybody's gonna watch this video, every new player, I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it.
Yep.
Um, but like you know, I'm not even sure if people will find Yamaguchi Sensei's videos
Yeah.
if they're searching for it in English. Um, so yeah, I would like though to. I think the big thing is I'd love to be able to translate the JSA's website because it goes into like the history of shogi. It talks about pros and like it's like shogi.or.jp or something like
Hmm.
that. It's like so helpful as just learning anything about the game, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know the history. They're like, oh, did it come from chess, or like, what's the game, blah blah blah. And there's like pages of information with all this stuff that I think would be great as an English resource. Um, but I also need like some compensation for
Yeah.
my time.
Yeah.
I will say actually, if anybody wants to help me doing the subtitles, I haven't reached out to Yamaguchi Sensei in a while because I haven't done any new videos. But if someone can timestamp or like just pull a transcript, even if it's not the Japanese transcript, if you could just like get the timestamps of like when to put the subtitles on, I'd be happy to do more of those. Um, I think that would be a nice little like feather in my cap of like did all of Yamaguchi
Yeah.
Sensei's Shogi Koza videos.
That'd be amazing. I mean, so the thing I'm fascinated by this conversation because in my dream world, I'm thinking about I still want to learn. I'm slowly getting into that. The motivation, it comes and goes, but like the end game for me, if I was to learn this, would be to try to contact the JSA. Do the sort of things that you're talking about.
Hmm.
In addition, one of the things that I feel pretty strongly about that we need to get a certain type of viewer is commentary of title matches or
Mm.
commentary of, for example, the Abema matches. This maybe smaller, watchable matches, and so obviously with some form of compensation. I think there is some effort, or there is some possibility there in my mind anyway, that the JSA might want to grow, and maybe they just don't know how to get that ball rolling. So if it's you or future me who's able to contact them and say, look, I love this game, I'm trying to grow this game, do you want to work together?
Hmm.
And so it feels so good to know that you're at least thinking on those lines, and you've already made some headroads in there, because I think we need that. I need, the game will
Well,
last with or without us, but like
oh sure.
it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, because like we talked about with resources earlier, right? Just the ability to find shogi clubs is good,
Yeah.
but also like as you get stronger, you want to learn more about the strategy, or maybe you're interested in title matches. I
Mm-hmm.
love watching like a title match
Mm-hmm.
on, Bema or wherever else, or sometimes they show them on YouTube. Um, and the commentary from the pros is really, really invaluable in a way because it helps explain so much about the game. And if you can't understand Japanese, it's really, really hard to understand that.
Yeah.
I think a couple of the challenges probably that the JSA has is that one, a lot of Westerners don't speak Japanese in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I know that, and I'm not going to speak for the JSA because I don't really know anybody who works there, but or like I haven't talked to them about this specifically. I know I have seen though online some hesitation around like people trying to like chessify shogi. I've seen that come up a lot.
Huh.
Um, and so I think there is some idea that maybe they would like to promote it more internationally, but they want to promote shogi and they
Yes.
don't want to like compromise and make it like accessible or like chess like for Western players. They want the game of shogi to be like the selling point. And
That's
so I,
fair.
I think you've seen a lot of like the art of shogi when people really are working with players at the JSA and respecting the game and like trying to make it a little more accessible but still like keeping in the spirit of the game. These tend to be a lot more successful and they tend to be a lot more popular as well because I think, at least speaking for myself, I don't want a chessed version of shogi. I want shogi. I like the kanji pieces and
Mm.
the tiles and like the way the board looks and everything. So I think
The sounds.
yeah,
Yeah.
the sounds. Oh man, everybody loves the the click. I like doing the click on the goro-goro sets too.
Yeah. So important question now. Important question. Do you
Yeah.
practice the snapping?
I did. Yeah, I did practice snapping for a little while
Very
until I
good.
could get it. I had some left over from Go actually, because
Mm,
I could already do like this thing because the
yeah.
Go pieces you put down the same way. But yeah,
Awesome.
um,
Awesome.
yeah,
Um, along those lines, also now of sort of growing, teaching, getting Westerners involved. You have a YouTube channel,
yes,
so you have a bunch of videos there. I guess tell me about that. What made you do it? What made you just sit down and say, I'm going to do this? And then what are your plans?
yeah. So YouTube channel is Phoenix Shogi. It's I haven't done a lot with it recently. I need to queue up
It's a lot of
more
work.
videos. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I think even when I initially started it, my primary goal basically was that a lot of people would ask me, first timers, like, what do I do? Like, okay, I learned all the rules to shogi, and now I don't know anything. I don't know strategies, and it's like, oh, well, you could watch this, 40 video playlist by Hidechi on
Yeah, yeah,
openings where he
yeah,
explains all the Joseki. Or, I mean, you can watch Kado Sensei's videos, the Shogi Harbor series, Tips for Beginners. That's what I did. But that also um, has a lot of kind of more, goes into like kind of abstract strategies. And I feel like there wasn't any like short, like 5 minutes or under, straight to the point, here's how you begin the game. Like,
mm,
if you are playing nobody, if you can just move forever, how do you win? Like, no one had done that video, at
yeah,
least that I could find. Um, and so I was like, I want to do it in English. I want to have a learner set so it shows the movements of the pieces because I think a lot of beginners still aren't yet comfortable with those. And I wanted to keep them like short and sweet and to the point. Um, so I made a playlist of basically kind of the videos I wish that I could have watched when I first started the game. A lot of my motivation is like, oh, I wish I had this. I will
mm-hmm,
make it for someone else, and then the next person who feels this way will have it. And that's like learn shogi exclamation point
mm-hmm,
playlist. It's like a 6 video series. And then I did every Tsume Shogi like mating pattern, like a mate in one, because I also felt that was a very important kind of video to have that I didn't have. Um, and then on the side, I'll do I did a Shogi Wars 100% speed run when I
mm-hmm.
try to unlock every opening sticker and castle sticker from Shogi
Yep,
Wars. And that I have recorded a lot of videos because those are easy. I just record and then do very brief editing of like change the aspect ratio, and then I'm done. I can print and send. I need to do a thumbnail.
yep,
Um, but I haven't uploaded as many of them just because I've been busy with updating the website. I want to train my own shogi game. I want to get better.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the YouTube channel. It's just videos I wish that I had had as a beginner, and then easy shogi wars content.
Yeah. You say you want to get better. What do you have any concrete goals or anything you're working towards?
My concrete goal, and it is a bit ambitious, is to win a U.S. shogi tournament. As I
Awesome.
want to, like I said, every tournament I go to, I
Yeah.
try to win.
Yeah.
So first place someday at a U.S. shogi championship is my main goal.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, we are getting to the hour mark. The time has flown for me.
Yeah.
I think I actually have so much more that I want to talk about, but maybe we'll save that for a second a second talk. I would
Totally.
love to be able to do that. But before we go, is there anything you'd like to say? Where can people find you if they want to find you? And yeah, take it away.
Yeah, sure. So our main website is phoenixshogi.com. You can also find us through shogiusa.com. I manage that website as well. You can check out our YouTube channel, Phoenix Shogi, YouTube. We also have a Discord, but it's more for like local players to
Mm.
find events. So if you're only looking for chat or like lessons or something, you could instead go through Shogi Harbor. If you post in Shogi promotion or even in general, if you're a new player, I'll usually find you and we'll play
Mm.
some teaching games or something. I'm quite active in Shogi Harbor.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been mind-blowingly amazing for me.
yeah,
Real fun. And thank you to everyone listening. And I'll see you next time.
yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.